Welcome to the Mythic Movie Maker podcast, where we review movies from a mythological perspective. My name is John, and this is my brother Nick.
Hello.
So, Nick, what movie are we reviewing today?
Today we're reviewing Aliens, which I would say over the course of the series is the movie that the largest percentage of people in the world have seen.
Out of all the movies in this entire
In this
podcast,
in this podcast so far, I think this might be the most popular and watched movie that we've done so far.
why is that?
It is a beloved action movie. People,
People do beloved it.
yeah, like
I think I
I'm
think
not,
uh I think Terminator 2 might give it a run for its money.
possibly. I think this is still the more popular movie.
Hmm. Do you have a quote for us today?
Yet, yes, I do. Mommy always says there's no monsters, no real ones, but there are.
Ooh. And what does that quote illuminate in the mythological themes?
I think it's kind of referring to two different groups. She's definitely saying it in reference to the aliens, the titular aliens, but the the corporation is kind of the real monster of the movie, and I don't think the movie
Completely.
makes that subtle at all.
No, the guy is so unbelievably evil, but they do a good job of making him seem comforting at first, because that's what true evil kind of, that's how you let true evil in.
Yeah,
Is evil is very bad, like it's like a Terminator, or in the second Terminator. Which there are a lot of parallels with this movie, but oh, like we were talking about in the last one, like they made them look human to gain our trust, you know? And so
hmm.
like the whatever the guy's name, the bad guy, the corporate guy in the movie,
Burke.
Burke, he just like in that same way, he pretended to be a human and he was actually terrible and a killer and evil.
Yeah, and like once he showed his true colors, like I almost had my quote be, "All right, that settles it. We grease him."
Because and he was speaking for the audience there too.
Yeah,
Because the audience is
yeah,
like, yeah, get rid of this freaking terrible guy.
yeah. The very first thing that the movie kind of opens with is sort of Ripley's trauma.
Yeah. Oh, actually, sorry, I want to back up.
Oh,
Sorry, I was
oh,
looking for. I was looking. Definitely, that's a good place to start. But I was looking for. Okay, so the full quote, the full conversation with Newt,
okay.
since you referenced it already, even though it was near
Hmm.
the end of the movie. The full conversation is, remember what Ripley said to her? She was trying to like baby her and be like, well, the Casey the doll doesn't think that monsters are real, and the
Casey's
kid
just a
was
piece of
like,
plastic.
yeah, the kid was like, that's just a piece of plastic. And then she said, monsters are real. So Casey the doll is just a piece of plastic, but monsters are real. So, the thing,
Oh, the friendly and comforting thing, the doll, is 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 fake,
yeah.
but the dangerous and scary thing is real.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think that's an important distinction and kind of a clever distinction that James Cameron made. Yeah, go on.
yeah. So she has like these nightmares about the events of the previous movie.
Ripley does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this movie plays off of the first movie and switches genres in a kind of interesting way where the like we didn't review the first movie, but the first movie is much more of a straight horror movie
Yeah.
with a lot less action.
Well, and only one alien too.
One alien, yeah.
What which has always been a criticism I've had of the later alien movies, you know.
Yeah, like the menace of the single alien is kind of diminished when there's like 30 of them in a hallway being blown away by like
Yeah.
automatic turrets.
Yeah. Just like or like a machine gun. It's
Yeah.
like they're supposed to be indestructible forces of, you know, like like indestructible alien forces that we have no comprehension of doing anything with, so we have no other choice but to just vacuum it out into back into space, you know.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes it like when she does that at the end of this movie, it's kind of like, well, I mean, you could have just killed it too. You didn't
Yeah. Well, also
like
like it's kind of funny that they had to introduce a big special alien to be the monster of the movie because all the foot soldier aliens are now just cannon fodder.
yeah, they become cannon fodder. Um, but I also that last alien holds a very special metaphorical purpose, but we'll get to that at the end.
Yeah.
We'll save that for later. So she, like you were saying, she's been haunted. She's being haunted by these terrors.
Yeah, yeah. She has these like nightmares about the alien, wiping out her crew, and then
Dreams again.
sort
Dreams
dream,
again.
dreams. Yeah. See, Wayland Utani, the evil corporation, somehow gets a hold of her again. Of course, she like nobody believes her.
Horror trope.
Yeah, yeah. The last survivor, nobody believes.
Hmm. So what,
Uh,
Nick, what do you think the alien represents?
so I think that the alien is like of the two monsters. Like I think that the two monsters of the movie kind of belong as sort of foils to each other.
Hmm.
Where the alien is this kind of very primal and animalistic terror, while the corporation is this very calculating and logical kind of horror.
Yeah, and it is funny that the corporation turns out to be worse than the alien, like we were joking about, but it's true.
Yeah, you don't see them fucking each other over for a percentage.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say the alien, this is a really basic, but I would say the alien represents evil, you know? In this
Maybe
movie, I the
in this
first
movie.
movie, I the first movie I need to watch again because it's very mysterious. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of ambiguity to it.
There's like probably a full hour before the alien actually
Yeah,
shows up.
yeah. Which helps a lot too because my did I ever tell you my criteria for a good alien movie?
What is it?
It's the quality of the movie is reflected in the quality of the crew. So
Okay.
if the crew is fun and cool and interesting, then it's going to be a good alien movie. If the crew is boring and stupid and annoying, it's going to be a bad alien movie.
This movie does have an excellent crew.
It
Like
does. They're really fun.
the the Space Marines are all completely iconic.
They are. Well, they have really vibrant personalities, you
Yeah.
know? Like the guy that's super nervous or Bill Paxton, and then the
Well,
lieutenant that's only been on a couple launches.
yeah. I like how Bill Paxton is. He's so fearless and so arrogant until the aliens show up, and then it's
Yeah.
he just turns to jelly.
I think the crew is important because, first off, from a storytelling perspective, you want to connect with the people that are going to
Yeah.
be killed, and that is of utmost importance because otherwise you don't give a shit about the alien ripping them apart.
Well, yeah. That's why so in all the Friday the 13th movies, the teenagers are not very well. They're not likable and they're not very well characterized. So you're almost excited to see Jason or whatever his name is go around like murdering them all
Yeah.
because it's like playing with action figures. It's like, oh, I got that one, you know?
You in those movies, yeah, it's a weird thing to say, but you are almost supposed to identify with Jason.
Yeah, or at least like you're rooting for Jason. You want to see Jason kill all the
Yeah.
teenagers. Yeah,
Yeah,
meanwhile
because they're
in this
annoying.
movie, yeah, and in this movie, Like every time one of the like there's a couple of the Space Marines that are a little that aren't very well characterized and they're usually picked off first.
Mm.
But every time one of them goes in this movie, you do feel it.
Yeah, yeah, you do. I mean, I wouldn't even go as far to say Jason either with characters that you kind of are rooting for to die. I watched Alien Romulus. Did you see that?
Hmm. No, no, that's the most recent one, right?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it.
I there were characters in that I was just like, please kill off this person so they can stop talking. Like
Yeah,
they were that bad where I was just like, God, they're so freaking annoying. I just want just please alien kill them so they go away.
yeah. I okay. So I had a similar thought about Newt. Like the first time I saw this movie when I was a kid, I was like, this Newt character is stupid and I hate her, and all she does is she's just an anchor around Ripley's neck.
A nuditros.
Yeah, I think we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves here, but like I think that is kind of intentional, and she's kind of supposed to be like that's what children are. You have to be paternal with them because they can't survive without you.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though I've seen the movie before, I do get a little annoyed. Like I know how the movie ends, but I still get a little annoyed when I see Newt kind of torpedoing their chance of success here and there.
How does she
But
torpedo it?
uh
She doesn't
she
intentionally. She just kind of gets lost.
yeah, she gets lost. She'll just stand there and scream instead of like trying to get somewhere safe.
Or picking up a gun
Uh
and shooting an alien. Like, come on.
yeah, maybe not that. Towards the end when she like slides down that vent,
Yeah.
she she could have easily like slipping out of a jacket is not a hard thing to prevent.
Wow, Nick.
So
Okay.
okay, so like I don't know,
You're
like
not gonna be a preschool teacher after this podcast.
no, but what yeah, so what I'm saying is that like the like Newt's purpose is kind of to be, in my opinion, kind of helpless as a
Completely. Yeah.
sort of like as a like a an object of maternal protection, you know?
Well, that's why you don't want her to die. And it's sort of she's sort of the cat, you know. The cat in the last movie. She
Yeah.
she was paternal with the cat. And in this movie, it's very interesting. This is a James Cameron thing. She leaves the cat behind as her spirit animal. The cat was her spirit animal in the last movie, and
Hmm.
she left it behind to upgrade
To a
to
child.
to a child. And it's
But she
sort
already
of a
had
clear continuation with Terminator.
uh
And
but
Newt and the iguana, Newt iguana.
well here's the thing is that she did already have a child. Newt is clearly not a replacement for the cat. Newt is a replacement for her her real daughter that died.
Oh, I don't remember that. Did they say that in this movie?
Yeah, it was in this movie. Like,
Uh,
remember at the very beginning of the movie where they're like, "Oh, your daughter was 66 years old. She died 2 years ago."
oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
So her real daughter died, and then she goes to this colony, and Newt kind of
Oh.
acts as a surrogate for her deceased daughter.
And so Newt is kind of a redemption for Ripley.
Yeah. She
Like I was away from my daughter my whole life, and now here's my chance to get it right with Newt.
yeah.
And
I not
that's why she cares about her so much. Because
yeah. Like I abandoned my previous daughter. I'm not going to abandon Newt here.
yeah, I am not going to. Um,
Hmm.
and the way that she leaves the cat is more of a like I'm moving on, not I'm abandoning you, but I don't want to take you through this terrible thing again.
Yeah,
I don't
she's
know why
leaving
you were
the
on the
cat.
first ship in the first place.
Well, I don't know, like having a cat on your ship. Like if
True.
I was if
Yeah, it's
I was
true.
yeah if I was hurtling through space, I'd want to have a cat.
But my yeah, it's true. my view of space though is like, okay, we're it this thing is business. We can't have anything that could fuck it up at all. Like,
Uh-huh.
but on the other end, it's like, well, you also need to keep people sane. Like that's not nothing, you
Yeah,
know.
and I do think that there is some aspect of sort of like humanity, like real humanity being sort of illogical and
Yeah. Well, that's the whole
so
story with Newt is it's worth the risk to gain your humanity,
yeah.
you know. Humanity is worth the risk. We can operate like robots, and we would probably be a more successful species materially, but we probably wouldn't have any will to live, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in that's kind of the I think it's also kind of the purpose behind Bishop
Yeah.
is sort of showing like his sort of essential humanity where
Yeah. Uh,
oh
uh, no,
we can come back to that later. Where
okay, let's just talk about Bishop later because
yeah,
he's so interesting too. That's the thing. There's there's a lot of
like
interesting things.
I have Bishop down as the most interesting character of the movie.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. Go on. Sorry.
okay, so I think that there's some extra like I have some extra details here about why Wayland Yutani is just the worst.
Well, they have a
Like,
bioweapons department.
yeah, they have a bioweapons department. This like it's like corporate manager guy Burke has access to Ripley's psyche val. Like he's just reading her medical record. Like, how completely insane is it that this guy who's essentially her boss can just like look through all of her psych information
Yeah, the Hippocratic oath does not exist in the
in
future.
the future? Yeah,
They kind
Wayland
of
Yutani.
it is an interesting thing is like what is this corporation on Earth? Are they like have they made Earth into a dystopia in the meantime?
Yeah, and like yeah, they have Marines like as a corporation.
Yeah, it's kind
They
of
they have a military.
East India Company
Yeah, and
vibes.
it's not like they're sitting around all day doing nothing. Like these people have significant amounts of combat experience.
Yeah, and they say like another bug job. So apparently they're killing like Starship Trooper level bugs on other planets and then
I,
like terraforming them.
I got the impression that like was like, oh, it's another bug hunt that they get sent on a lot of these missions to look for aliens but never found them.
Oh, really?
That's
Okay,
what I
so
thought.
so they're aware of the aliens.
Yeah, that's how I read that scene is that they're like, oh, like not when I say aliens, I mean like aliens lowercase. Like
Oh, got you.
I don't think they're aware of the xenomorph species as a thing.
They're aware of it to a certain degree.
The corporation is. The corporation note like which
They
which makes
want
the
them.
interview yeah, which makes the interview with Ripley even more sociopathic that all of these higher ups know that the aliens exist and want access to them, but they're still treating her like she's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. To gaslight her.
Yeah, there's gaslighting her.
This hero, basically.
Yeah, this heroic person.
And then they want to send her out again. But I think her being sent out again, or there was sort of a good reason for it for her to go, you know, which is that, she has those nightmares
Well, yeah, she's like her like using this thing to face her fear and like work through her trauma is clearly what this whole story is.
completely. I felt the same way. Yeah.
Which, by the end of the movie, she does. sort of become a much more heroic figure.
Yeah. She was in the first one, she was kind of helpless and she was running away the whole time and she never really confronted in any physical way the alien, did she? She
No,
kind of
no, I think
just she kind of just ran away and then pushed the button and it got sucked out into space.
yeah, clearly
But it
the intention in the previous movie was just for her to survive. Like that was the entire goal.
yeah,
And this
again
one she was
something that you yeah, go on.
yeah, and this one like survival is less of a big deal in making sure that the aliens are defeated.
Well, you know how I was saying I had a beef with the other alien movies because I thought this was supposed to be an indestructible monster and now you can kill
Uh-huh.
it. Well, in a way, it, in this movie, Cameron made them indestructible, even though even though you could kill them, there were just, they were indestructible in the way that there were so many of them.
Yeah, so it's like where the monster is no longer the alien, but the monster is now the alien hive. You know, the aliens. The
Yeah.
aliens are the monster.
Yeah. And it has a Hercules and a Hydra sort of feel to it. Like
Oh
it,
yeah,
it
like
taps into that fear that people have, of
yeah, like you kill the monster and then just more monsters keep showing up.
exactly. Yeah. And so it just feels like an endless task to just keep pushing these monsters away. And, in a way that's like life, like the kind of if you want to stay cocooned in a room all day, you cannot face any monsters.
Mhm.
You'll face other monsters, probably worse monsters, and that just goes to show there's nowhere. And that's the quote. That's the logo from the last movie, wasn't it? There's nowhere to hide, or essentially,
Yeah,
um,
well, yeah, well, it's like no one's coming to save you.
no
Is
one's coming to save you. Yep.
yeah.
And so, if there will always be monsters, no matter what, the monsters will always come and get you. The monsters will always find you. There will always in life be monsters
Yeah.
that you have to face. And as soon as you get rid of one, one other one will pop up. Okay. And probably a worse one. And that's part of growing up is how to face the lesser monsters to be able to face the bigger monsters.
Hmm.
And part of what the humanity is doing in this movie is they're going to the outer reaches of space and they're finding things there that they can't understand or compete with. And part of that is why in the last movie the robot was so interested in the aliens is because they're, interested in exploring and going into these dark areas of space, the outer areas of space. And out there, they find worse and worse monsters, and then they find more and more of them. And
Yeah.
so it's sort of like that exploring exploring is fraught with finding monsters on the edges of the maps, right?
Yeah.
And that's what this movie is it's finding more monsters on the edge of the map.
Yeah, like they're sort of the ridiculous hubris of the company and of humanity in general, where they're like, yeah, so we're going to go to this planet that can't support human life, and then we're just going to build a big machine that's going to turn
Exactly.
it into Earth, and then everything's going to be fine.
Exactly. You have no idea what you're doing. You have no idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is so hubristic. It is so hubristic to just be like, all right, that planet there, yeah, we're gonna make it into Earth. Yeah, just like that. We're gonna put a couple nukes down there and swirl it around, and yeah, it's gonna be Earth.
We
Uh,
call it a shake and bake colony.
yeah, exactly. They're even like blasé about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, what you're doing is you're fundamentally, you're dealing with things you don't understand. It's a lot, it's Jurassic Parky in a way.
Yeah.
You're dealing with forces. You're creating life, You're
Hmm.
creating things that weren't that it's like it but here's the thing. Would you say that the ends justify the means in that? Is
Uh,
terraforming ultimately a good thing?
that's actually, I mean, the notion that you can actually do this and that it's sort of become routine is kind of incredible. Like changing the atmosphere of an entire planet. So I guess it's less about whether or not it's a good thing to do and more about just taking it for granted
Yeah.
of like, taking this incredible thing and just treating it like it's normal and routine.
Yeah. And that's sort of, if you want to
And
talk about Piranha 2, The Spawning.
mhm. Which I was
Uh
exactly what I was thinking about.
and actually even connecting it to our conversation about Kill Bill. That's what reproduction is. That's the problem with reproduction. People don't treat it as with the meaningfulness that it deserves. You're creating life, you know?
Yeah, and I think it doesn't really touch on the reproduction aspect of it much, but
Oh, well, but aliens, they're
yeah, there's
reproducing.
yeah, there's more of them.
All right.
But like how the Marines themselves were like super blasé and hubristic about going to this planet. They're like, oh yeah, this is easiest thing in the world. Is going to go down there. We're gonna chat up the colonists. Nothing's going to happen. Then we're going to head back. And if something does happen, it doesn't matter at all because we're badasses.
Yeah. Yeah, until they all had to face true evil and terror.
Yeah,
What's interesting about the crew, like setting up the crew ahead of time, is they all reacted differently to the alien. When shit got real, basically.
yeah. The corporal or whatever just absolutely freaked out.
He
The
froze.
Yeah, Vasquez just got tough. Bill Paxton just freaked out for the whole movie.
He
Uh,
became he became childlike almost.
yeah. Where Newt kind of had to grow up quickly. Bill Paxton kind of reverted to childhood terror.
And Ripley, she took control.
Yeah,
Like that's what she does in the face of danger is she takes control. And that's kind
yeah.
of
That
like
was
the idealistic way to act in danger. Like they're showing you like how to act.
yeah, and not only was it sort of taking control, but sort of putting herself in greater danger in order to save other people.
Mm-hmm. Because originally,
Because
remember, they told her you don't have to go you can just stay on the ship. You don't have to do anything.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, and she went down to the you know to the facility with the Marines. She When she was in that tank thing, she took control of the tank and put the tank in danger in order to get like to punch through that wall and save the Marines.
yeah, and you know what? That's such a good, I didn't even think about that. That's such a good point. She took control of the tank. Like she had power over and she actually demonstrates her power over machinery throughout the movie.
Yeah, with the that robot thing at the very beginning and at the very end.
Yeah. Yeah, the loading robot.
Yeah,
So like it takes control. Like that's what her character is in this movie is someone who takes control of situations, of joysticks.
yeah. Well, she was like she. I think she needs that to feel that control in order to sort of overcome the trauma of the previous movie because when she has nothing to do, she's freaking out every night and waking up in a cold sweat. But
Yeah.
then when the aliens actually show up and like actually start killing people, then she just hardens immediately and becomes an action hero.
Yeah, and that's another thing too is she 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 needs to take control to feel comfortable because she realizes more than anyone else in the movie that their destinies are not in their control.
Yeah.
It's in the aliens' control or it's in the Weyland Corporation's control.
Okay, so we sort of touched on earlier the hubris of the Marines and how the their clear expectation to survive with zero difficulty is kind of not what killed them, but what killed them in terms of the theming of the movie. You know, they didn't respect the aliens and they therefore had to die. As a kind of counterpart to that we didn't bring up was that Newt kind of survives through humility.
Mm.
Like she kind of recognized that she is prey and kind of behaved like a prey animal.
Well, yeah, that was one of my big questions was how could Newt possibly have survived that whole thing?
Well, yeah, because she was like crawling through the ducts and hiding and cowering in fear, and like that's kind of interesting. Like that's kind of what allowed her to survive is that she recognized the aliens as being sort of undefeatable,
Yeah.
or at least recognized her own weakness in front of in front of them.
Yeah, and that's very interesting too because we haven't had that feeling as mankind, like as a general mankind, in a very long time, like since the Ice
Yeah.
Ages, that we're not the top predator.
Hmm.
Yeah, and there is a lot of that in this movie, a lot of hubris. Because you mentioned the Weyland Corporation and humanity as being very hubristic and just going off and like basically acting like we own the place. And the place I mean is the universe.
Yeah. Yeah. All of
Um,
reality.
yeah. So it's like that kind of hubris is going to bite you in the butt at some point. And that's your general thesis on Cameron, isn't it? Is hubris.
I don't think Terminator really falls in with that theme. I think Piranha does.
How so?
They sought to sort of control nature, like to sort of exert dominance over this sort of like natural creature, and then ended up being murdered by it.
Yeah. That is similar to this movie.
Yeah, where they like where to the same extent that they were sort of taming planets as a matter of routine. They thought like, oh, this animal is it's just one animal. It can't be any harder than taming a planet. We're just gonna turn this into a weapon like everything else.
Yeah.
And I kind of defied them in this very dramatic way.
And you're talking about an alien or in
The
Piranha?
alien,
Oh, okay,
alien.
yeah.
Well,
Uh,
it's similar where
yeah.
trying to turn a an animal into a weapon and getting destroyed by that animal.
Well, the hubris in Terminator is actually the hubris of the machines. They acted
Yeah,
very hubristically in that they just kind of walked in like they owned the past. And we're so much more technologically advanced than you that so we're just gonna run roughshod over the past and treat it like it's garbage, basically.
yeah. The Terminator just walks into the police department and just makes no attempts at subtlety. Just marches in and starts shooting up the place to get Sarah Connor.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why that Terminator lost is if he was a little bit more cunning, he may have gotten her. Um,
Yeah, where Kyle Reese was actually cunning and did
exactly.
manage. He found the right Sarah Connor without having to just kill every Sarah Connor.
It's a good point. I'm, I'm sad we didn't bring it up in the last one. That is a really good point. And to that point, you know, Kyle Reese kind of acts in a similar way to Newt that does that you said. in that he acted like a prey animal and didn't show himself until he absolutely needed to.
Yeah.
All right. There was one last thing I wanted to bring up before basically the movie starts.
Hmm.
Because we haven't left Earth yet. But I want to say that just very quickly, whenever you watch a space movie, a movie set in space, space will almost always represent the human mind, the psychology of the person who's going.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know why that is. It's just something that ended up happening when we started making movies about people going to space. It just started representing the human mind. And any space movie you watch, that'll be what it is. It's a representation for the psychology of the person. And it's sort of like an exploring the emptiness sort of thing. In this movie, I think if you see the aliens in that respect, the aliens represent, encroaching evil that can overtake you if you're not careful to confront it. And the aliens are that part of your psychology.
Yeah, so I think that like you could actually kind of boil down the first three or four Aliens movies into kind of this relationship between Weyland Yutani and the aliens,
Hmm.
where like you kind of like you're expanding to the edges of human accomplishment, and like I guess what you're saying is like the human mind, like you're digging through every corner of the human mind and you find something terrible and evil
About yourself.
about yourself. And what Ripley wants to do is kind of rip it out, make, self improve, fix the evil thing. And what Wayland Utani is attempting to do is to kind of like take it like, if we're following the metaphor, sort of taking your worst impulses and kind of feeding them.
Yeah, because what they keep wanting to do over and over in the alien movies is keep the alien alive and study it. And it's kind of unclear, but to make it into to kind of what do they want to do with it?
They
You know,
okay, so
it's
actually,
like
I
they
actually
mentioned bioweapons a couple times, but it's
that
not really like
that actually makes sense to me because the alien is actually like not the perfect organism. It's actually kind of a terrible organism because it shows up, it wipes out everything, and then it just kind of goes dormant.
yeah.
What it is, I think they're kind of the perfect weapon.
Oh yeah, and in Prometheus, they actually do bring that up. Like the aliens are actually a nuclear weapon type of thing, which is like the nuclear weapon, what the nuclear weapon is to Earth, the aliens are to the universe.
Yeah, where you like you drop off a bunch of alien eggs on
No,
some
you're completely right. You're absolutely right. I
yeah,
missed that.
on some enemy, and then the aliens wake up, they wipe out all the people, and whatever infrastructure is there remains. So,
So I
you can
guess, yeah.
so like if the goal is to, destroy your enemy without like blowing up all their valuable stuff, then dropping the aliens on them is kind of a very clever thing to do.
But the aliens are sort of, if they are like a weapon, and maybe that's what the Wayland Corporation wants, is to have that weapon,
Yeah,
just like
they want
in a weapons race, arms race sort of thing.
yeah, they want to sort of, control the aliens and use them against their enemies.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're having to have a military to
Yeah.
wipe out basically not civilizations of other aliens, but entire planets of other people,
Yeah, like
or whatever. And
yeah, like
so
cuz
the way to
these
do
these
that is with the aliens.
Yeah, because these Marines are not only do they have a military, but they're battle hardened.
Yeah.
These guys are they were making fun of the one guy for just being on two missions.
Well, 37 simulated.
Mhm. Two
Um,
actual.
yeah. But 37 simulated. I mean, that's not nothing.
Yeah,
Nick.
of course.
I wonder what a simulated mission would be. Just like
It's like a VR
here.
thing.
All right, but getting back to so it kind of now the Wayland thing has sort of become clear, and we're probably not the first people to think about this, but so what their goal is is to find a planet that's suitable for human life.
Yeah.
If there's somebody else living on it, throw in the aliens, wipe them out, and then go in there, maybe figure out some way. Maybe they have to figure out some way to kill the aliens first, and then put their civilization in there.
Yeah.
So that is a good point. Like, what is there? I guess that's why they want to study it so that they can use it as a weapon and then destroy all the aliens so that the planet is theirs.
Yeah. Or even just like I don't know, like sell alien eggs to governments who are fighting each other, where you can just even if you
Yeah,
don't want to take over a planet, just turn the planet uninhabitable by having it be infested with aliens.
yeah. But it makes me kind of think this is kind of a sci-fi concept too, which is like I think it's actually a call has some name like this principle where humanity has to get over this hump, which is to be able to have nuclear power and use it for good as energy and not use it for weapons. And
Hmm.
if we get over that hump and we destroy all the weapons, and then we'll become a fully fledged space civilization. If we can't figure out how to have the ethics to harness nuclear power, then we will go into the dustbin of history of the universe. And so it's like it's a inflection point for humanity having nukes. So much so that and it kind of shows the character of humanity to be able to do this. And if we use them as weapons, we deserve to not have to be destroyed, basically.
Well,
And so there's
the
like a lot of connections with the alien and nukes.
one of the most famous lines in the whole movie is I say we take off and nuke the entire site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
So
nukes are a huge part of it because that they're
yeah,
using the nuclear generation to make the terraforming. Yeah,
yeah. So and like the same sort of machinery that terraforms the planet is also sort of being used to explode all the aliens.
exactly. Yeah. So you can use it for good or evil. And if that was the case, though, one of the Alien movies should be kind of about that. Like, isn't it going against its own philosophy if we are not actually confronting the aliens and like maybe the Wayland Corporation has a point. This thing is out there. We should learn how to deal with it. And not just kill it or not just avoid it. Shouldn't we learn to understand it and then exploit it?
So I think the reason why like the Weyland-Yutani Corporation is like super Hitler isn't the fact that they want to understand the aliens, but that they clearly want to their plan for the aliens is clearly illegal. Like there does appear to be some kind of government force that they're hiding their activities from. So if what they were doing was kind of necessary and positive, then they wouldn't be trying so hard to hide what they're doing.
True. But at the end of the day, do you still agree? that the it it should be the good guys that capture the aliens and capture one, figure out how to defeat it, and then that'd be the end of the aliens. That would be the end of the aliens. Like if we figured out like an alien killing, well, here's what we should do is we should make an alien killing alien that's so much stronger than the aliens and then release that onto the planet. And then to get rid of those aliens, we'll have to create a worse alien.
Well, here's the thing: is that like I've I've seen a, I think like the first four Alien movies. I've seen Alien, was it Prometheus? I've seen several of the Alien versus Predator movies, and the aliens are never like, I think the aliens are definitely unnatural. Like you never see a thriving alien population just existing in the wild.
Hmm.
They're always, they show up to some place, they completely like wipe out whatever existing life is, and then they just go dormant. Like
True.
they're
They do
like
go
they're
dormant. Yeah.
yeah, they're not,
Well,
they,
they're
they don't,
parasitic.
yeah, they're parasite. They don't behave like a healthy component of an ecosystem. They behave, like a weapon. Like
Yeah.
that's they're all they do is destroy and consume, and they don't just exist. Their purpose is to eat and destroy, and that's all they do. They are pure evil. They just are. There's no redemptive aspect to them. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing good about them, that there's nothing good that you can learn by studying them.
Yeah. Not like nukes. Yeah, the only good that you can, or the only thing that you can use the alien technology for is to release onto other people.
Yeah, to do even more destruction.
Hmm. All right, so let us move on to
Hmm.
the second scene of the movie. We start seeing the crew,
Yeah, the Marines.
the Marines, and then we meet Bishop,
Hmm.
who's a synth. I mean,
An
sorry,
artificial person.
an artificial person. I almost,
It is, John, saying,
I
calling someone
know,
synthetic in current year. Gosh.
I know.
Yeah, so Bishop is clearly a counterpoint. Like he's supposed to be a counterpoint to the robot in the first movie,
Completely.
where
Yeah.
the first robot sort of respected and admired the alien, and sort of behaved a lot more like a a pure representative of the company, while Bishop seems to be like more advanced in the sense that he's much more human.
Hmm. Yeah, and you do think as an audience, like, oh, good, nice trick. Nice trick. But he's gonna turn evil eventually, you know.
Especially because he does seem very, what's the
Shifty.
right word? Yeah, he seems shifty, and like his facial expression is always just extremely severe.
Yeah, and that actor just does have like a bad guy face too.
Yeah.
It sounds bad to say, but like he does strike you as like a bad guy. So at first I was like, if they want to make this guy, because I actually kind of forgot how good he was,
Yeah.
because it's been so long. But I was like, man, like if they wanted to make him seem like not a bad guy, they could should have chosen somebody who doesn't look like a bad guy, you know?
Yeah, and he does like the knife thing with
Yeah,
Bill Paxton.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and the way he dismisses the murder, like the
Uh-huh.
murderous intent of the previous robot. He's like, "Oh yeah, those were always glitchy."
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Like
they
completely.
like they killed yeah, it killed three people. It's like, yeah, they were a
Yeah.
little twitchy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, I was fully expecting him to be evil in this movie.
Yeah, and then like kind of like the real payoff to that bait and switch is when he shows up with the because like when he shows up with the airship at the very end to pick up her and Newt
Hmm. Well,
because
it was even before that when
he volunteered to go out and retrieve the ship.
oh yeah. Yeah, you're right. And you thought that he was just going to abandon them. That's what I
Yeah,
thought. That's what I thought. Um, yeah, and he actually came back, and then he.
yeah. Then like later on when Ripley like comes back to where the ship is supposed to be after fighting the alien queen for the first time,
Mhm.
and she's sitting there with Newt, and they're like, "Oh, he left. They abandoned us." And then he shows back. Then like the he shows back up, and it's like, ah, it turns out he was a good guy this whole time.
Yeah. Here's what's interesting too is oh man, what you go on another tangent, but in Terminator made technology seem like the bad guy, and he made technology seem like a problem, and that we should you know, if you watch the Terminator, you will obviously think that technology is bad and that we should curb it.
Well, like
But
but I think he goes back to that with the Avatar movies.
you know
Technology
what?
is
That's it.
clearly the bad guy.
Uh, that's interesting. But and that's inherently that isn't inherently, if that's true, that is inherently in the movie. The actual making of the movie discredits that because it's one of the most technologically advanced movies ever made. That
Uh,
was the whole point of it, was for it to be
yeah, it
so
was yeah,
technologically advanced.
yeah he found a new kind of camera or something and made a movie around that.
Yeah. So
But
I can't believe that Cameron is anti-technology. And in this movie, he actually does atone for that. And in Terminator 2, he does atone for that. In that he's
yeah,
saying it's not
like
the yeah,
yeah, it's not that the robot is evil, it's the way the robot is being used.
yeah, exactly. And it's actually us that's evil. It's actually the our greed and our worst qualities that are true evil. If a robot is bad, it's only because we made it
Somebody
bad.
made it bad. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Cameron is like a very astute, like thinker in this way, which is all of humanity's problems are our own fault. And we have some pretty major faults as humans
Hmm.
that we kind of try to ignore and sweep under the rug and act like we don't have. But in his movies, he's very clearly saying like humanity has major problems in our makeup. We have to do something about these bad impulses, or else they're gonna overtake us.
Yeah, because Burke is so cartoonishly evil.
He is.
Uh, like he's killing, however many colonists died on his order, and he seems completely unfazed by that. And then he essentially plans to murder the entirety of the crew sent down to protect him while during this mission.
Yeah, and get the two girls infected with the aliens so that they can pass through customs.
Yeah, and subsequently die.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and you're right. It is cartoonishly evil because it's like honestly, I what is his motivation for all that? Just to be
Just like to be the guy who produced the aliens for the corporation and then get rewarded by his superiors. It seems like the reward seems so trivial in comparison to all of the things you have to sacrifice to get it.
yeah.
Like to like look other people like that you know personally in the face and lie to them and then try to get them killed. corporations can be callous to human suffering, but it's never that direct and personal.
Yeah, and that's why most corporations do become evil too, is because they never really have to face the people that they're screwing over.
Yeah, you don't have to like look someone in the face and tell them that they're dying on your order.
But this guy
Yeah.
is at a different level. This guy,
Yeah. Yeah, he's a mega psychopath.
and that's probably why they sent him. He's like a valuable asset in the Whalen Corporation. Is like, oh yeah, this guy'll do anything.
that's, that's his purpose.
Yeah, this guy's messed up. We'll put him on this mission.
What's the most evil person that we have on the payroll? Oh, Burke. Definitely
Burke,
Burke.
okay, send him. Send in Burke. Okay, so what happens in the movie? So they go off into space. They all wake up. Bishop does his knife thing,
Yeah.
and
There's
then
there's banter.
there's
There's
banter.
lots of
They
banter.
there's a lot of like machismo, even from the women. And then they actually go down, and then everyone kind of finds, and then we kind of find out how everyone really acts when they're confronted with danger. So they get down there. What all happens? They get attacked.
So they're looking. They spend a lot of time looking for the colonists and not finding them.
Yes,
They they
yes, they're
they they
looking for the
see
colonist. Yeah.
they see the aftermath of the battle and essentially get proof that the aliens are the aliens that Ripley describes
Hmm.
because they see like a sort of a tunnel bored through the station via the alien acid blood.
Hmm. And then they do find a signature on their radar, and that turns out to be Newt. I think that Newt is a perfect name for her. Like you see the picture of her. She used to be a regular little girl,
Yeah, and she like turns into an animal.
and she looks like a feral human kind of.
Yeah.
And it's psychologically that's what you would have to do. If you were in that situation, you would have to remove every ounce of humanity that you have to be able to cope
Well,
with
yeah, like
this
she
without
she
being going insane.
yeah, she kind of like she kind of correctly identifies that she is now prey and behaves like a prey animal.
Yeah, yeah.
Of like scurrying through the ducts and eating scraps and just being terrified all the time.
I think that James Cameron is kind of interested in that reptilian brain sort of idea, which is like, the id, I guess, is
Hmm.
like your most basic survival qualities. That's your reptilian brain. And that's what you have to be in touch with when you're in a horrible situation. And Newt only popped up after they realized that the aliens were around. And so that there was that switch, which is like, okay, we're in a situation right now where I have to have my reptilian side with me because there's some crazy crap that's about to go down. It's kind of like Cliff in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like Cliff was around when Leonardo
When you
DiCaprio needed him.
Yeah, when you needed a monster.
Yeah. And then he was
Yeah.
sent away when he didn't anymore. So it's the same thing with Newt is like, you know, Newt only appeared after shit went down.
Yeah, like she kind of taught the Space Marines how to survive in the face of this
Exactly.
dangerous predator.
And that was the other thing too. There was that scene where Newt, when they were running away through the vents, she was directing Ripley where to go because she
Yeah,
was,
yeah, because the Marines tried to get through this big steel door that Burke locked,
yeah,
and then Newt was the one who's like, oh no, we can rip this vent off here and go through these.
yeah.
she saved the whole crew at that point.
Yeah, and what's interesting is yeah, she was guiding the crew through the darkness, you know? It was Newt. It was Newt that saved them all. And it was through her sort of like shamanistic guiding through the darkness of these adults, who were like not accustomed with this darkness. And, her I think that her being a little girl isn't really the point. It was that her name was Newt, which is a
I,
point.
I, I think she did kind of like the way that she was able to guide them through the situations because she was like she kind of like she taught them how to like be powerless.
That's true.
Like
That's
she like
true.
as
Yeah.
like even without like alien monsters trying to kill you, like children are kind of powerless in their lives.
Yeah.
And so that was the perspective that the Space Marines needed in order to survive through the encounters.
Yeah, it was to kind of get you out of a bad situation. But at a certain point, Newt couldn't solve certain bigger problems that came, you know.
Yeah, and
Ripley had to solve them.
I do think that like Newt as a character is less important than Newt as a thing for Ripley to mother over.
Hmm.
Like she is kind of that's kind of her most important purpose in the movie is to be the sort of object of maternal protection.
Yeah, but she is multiple things, which makes her such a great character.
Yeah, yeah.
She is Newt, but there's also, like they say in the movie, there's also a little girl trapped under there.
So at the very end, like after like 'cause she always just calls her Ripley
Hmm.
until the very
Yeah.
end of the movie where after Ripley defeats the alien queen and picks up Newt for kind of the last time in the movie, she calls her mommy.
Yeah.
Not
She
even like mom
does.
or mother, it's mommy. Like kind of recognizing that relationship and kind of legitimizing it.
Yeah. And it's interesting because Newt was sort of in charge in the horrible place. But once all of the dirt, and she was in charge, and she was sort of like she knew the most about that place. And then once
Yeah.
you wiped off all the dirt, then she was subservient to
Yeah, like
Ripley, and she
what
and then she became kind of like what she should have been, which is like sort of like, but if you think about it in a psychological way, when bad things are happening, that's when you let Newt take over. And then when you're in a good place, you don't want Newt around. You don't want Newt around. You want to have her be
Rebecca.
yeah, exactly. You want her to be a little child that is harmless again. And being able to make that switch over requires, a certain mental fortitude. And another movie I saw recently was The Shining, and that's sort of
Okay.
what. Do you remember the character? I forgot what it is, Timmy or something, like
Oh yeah.
where something bad happened, which is Jack Nicholson beat the kid at some point earlier, and then that's when the alter ego came, because the you need a alter ego to deal with darkness,
Hmm.
and then when all the bad stuff was happening in the Overlook Hotel in The Shining, it got to the point where the kid wasn't even there anymore. The alter ego completely took over
Hmm.
and was running the show. And that's kind of and writing red rum on everything. That's kind of what happened here is when they were in this bad place, Newt took over. And then when things are good, she was back to Rebecca.
Yeah. Yeah, and that also was kind of a redemptive moment for Ripley,
Hmm.
who even though it wasn't her fault at all, like she feels like she abandoned her daughter,
Hmm. Yeah.
and so like having this sort of surrogate daughter kind of accept her as a surrogate mother is this very redemptive moment for Ripley.
Yeah, and that's what makes this such a really good movie and a mythological movie because I mean, we could have an argument of Newt means this, and Newt means that, and Newt means this other thing. And it's like, well, actually, they're all true in different
Yeah.
contexts, different levels of deepness in the story and the themes. And that's like really great symbolic storytelling, you know, is to
Hmm.
have one character mean so many different things depending on the context.
Yeah, like Newt has her own relationship to Ripley and her own relationship to the monsters and her own relationship to like the space itself, like the space station.
Hmm. And then there was also another very important moment where, do you remember when Ripley in the middle of the movie is putting Newt to bed before something happens? Um, but she was putting Newt to bed, and do you remember what she says to her?
Something about like no dreams or something like that, or
Exactly, exactly. I'm glad you picked up on that. She said, "Try not to dream," or something like that,
hmm.
because dreaming to them, dreaming is bad because they're being haunted in their dreams by this terror.
Yeah. Well, and also, like it's kind of more like another indication of Newt being very animalistic is the fact that they didn't sleep on top of the bed. Like
Oh, really?
Newt crawled under the bed in order to
Ooh,
sleep.
where the
And
monsters are.
maybe I think it might just be more her like sort of not accepting the fact that she's fully human,
No,
and so
that's
she's
true
not.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's not. So she's like, no, no, this, no, no, the bed is for when things are safe. That's
Hmm.
when I and so she crawled under the bed like like an animal would, and
Yeah.
like and sleeping in the dark.
Um, but it is also interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Like monsters go under the bed and she's like of the monsters.
Yeah, they've definitely left their impact on her.
So here's where I was gonna go is in this technology, in this movie, it's sort of the redemption story of technology, where technology is pretty much always seen as a good thing in this movie.
Yeah, like Bishop is good.
The technology always comes to the aid of the people in this.
Yeah, like the AI robo turrets are
Hmm. Effective.
uh yeah, effective, and like they all would have died if it wasn't for the robo turrets. If they had just brought enough robo turrets, the whole problem could have been resolved.
But here's another interesting little detail about technology being used for good, and kind of what I think Cameron's view of technology is, which is they used the radar to see and to guide them as well, you know?
Hmm.
Like Newt guided them when they needed it, but the kind of the radar technology sort of guided them and led them to where they should be and alerted them of danger. It was sort of got you in the proximity of where you should be, and also when there were aliens around, the radar was only a flat 2D device. So like they could be above them. And so technology is only that good of a guide. It's helpful. It's very useful to have, but it's only so useful up to a point. I think is what Cameron is sort of saying. Because the technology does work very well, but then he does make a point of being like, oh well, they're technically they should be in the room. So th this technology that we're using isn't giving us quality enough information to act on.
No, I'm not seeing the whole like technology in general being beneficial outside of Bishop. Like,
Well, the
uh,
radar stuff, they were using that radar stuff the whole movie.
but it's like it's a sci-fi movie. There's gonna be some kind of future technology, and it being generally useful, like because that's basically what you're saying is that the radar was generally useful.
Well, I'm saying
Like
it was useful up to a point, and then you kind of have to rely on human qualities to make the ultimate to do the ultimate act, you know.
yeah, I guess there's a little bit of that. Like there's like the robo turrets are probably the most dramatic example of that, where the robo turrets took care of the aliens up to a certain point, and then the humans had to take over.
Yeah.
Uh, Bishop was extremely helpful right up until a certain point, and then Ripley needed to take the story the rest of the way herself.
hmm Now we could talk about the end. We have full license to talk about the
Yeah.
end. I and then so the very end of the movie, how does Ripley kill the alien? She uses
So
that big machine. So the machine empowered her to do something that she could not as just a human. You know what I mean? If she wanted to fight that alien just mano a mano, she would have been destroyed very easily. But the having the machine as an exoskeleton to empower her, that's the only way that she was able to defeat the alien was with technology.
yeah, there's like the whole movie builds up into this big matriarchal duel between uh
Yeah. That is an
Ripley and
interesting,
the alien queen.
that's a really good point. Yeah, it's the queen.
Yeah, like she even like Ripley even calls the queen a bitch.
Yeah, I love that quote.
Uh-huh. And like she and it's not just that the queen is female and the antagonist, but like Ripley kills its babies.
Yeah,
Like she kills a bunch of the aliens and incinerates all the eggs. And
heartlessly.
the whole time that's happening, the queen is like howling at her.
hmm Yeah, so what do you take from that?
Well, it's kind of a known thing. This movie touches pretty heavily on the topic of motherhood,
hmm
where the only reason Ripley is there inside the space station is to save Newt,
hmm
because like her, Hicks, and Bishop are all in the space shuttle, and they could have just flown off. In
hmm
fact, that would have been the logical thing to do, is to be like, okay, Newt's gone. Well, that's sad.
Completely logical. You're right.
Like it's exactly what I would have done. Like I would not have gone back into, into hell to save this little girl. I would have just been like, okay, well, that's unfortunate. That's
I know you better than that, Nick. You would go back and
so
save Newt.
uh no.
And it's interesting. It's interesting because when the aliens cut off the power, it kind of looks like hell in there.
Yeah,
It like
everything's
turns
red.
red. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had that feeling too that that it became hell.
Yeah, so then but then like Ripley goes back in, she kills all of she saves her baby. She kills all of the alien queen's babies, and then like tries to escape, and then the alien queen is, I'm pretty sure, only there out of vengeance. I think I think the alien queen is attempting to avenge her young by killing Ripley
And
uh
Newt, yeah.
and Newt, because like she's not hunting them for food because they're
I don't
completely
think
tiny.
I don't think they eat either. Like,
There's Yeah, the topic of what do the aliens eat would be, we'll just classify that under a plot hole and move on.
well, I would say that's why they're dormant. They go into hibernation so they don't have to eat. Kind of like the humans do. The humans go into hibernations too, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting the parallels that you start to see between the aliens and the people.
Hmm. Oh,
Um,
but back to like a bishop.
yeah.
It's
Well,
like the
yeah.
alien queen doesn't seem to. I think she just views Bishop as a inanimate object.
Oh, really?
Like, because when she's dealing with Ripley and Newt, she'll like posture and snarl and sort of uh
Intimidate.
intimidate. Yeah. And when she walks up to Bishop, she just walks up to Bishop, rips him in half, moves straight on to.
Yeah. Well, okay. One last thing on going back for Newt, because that's like at the end of Reservoir Dogs. It's like, why did Mr. Orange tell Mr. White that he was a cop? It was to like reclaim in that last moment one shred of humanity, you know?
Yeah.
And it's the same. We do illogical things for to claim our humanity all the time. And that's what she was doing. That going back for
That's
Newt was risking everything for humanity. And at the end of the day, that's all because at the end of the day, that's all we have, you know?
yeah,
Like,
that's the actually like okay, so like word for word, the note that I have here is going back to save Newt, comma, illogical but human.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And humans
yeah.
are not logical creatures. We get into trouble when we believe that we are rational actors. Well, no, we we make rationalizations for emotional decisions. The world would not be a different place without Newt, most likely. But
Hmm.
we just it there's just something in us that's like we can't leave that little girl behind. Yeah, we need Newt, Nick. We need Newt.
Hmm. Yeah.
But so if you don't have anything to say about that, let's get right into that last scene
Oh, with
where,
the loader.
yeah, well, so it begins with they're triumphant, they've won, they're back on like the mothership or whatever, and then just as they're done patting each other on the back, the mother alien comes out.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it,
she doesn't recognize Bishop as being essentially human. She just rips him apart and moves on.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And why
then
is that
she
important?
well, I think the aliens are kind of this like they're kind of this counterpart to the Weyland Yutani Corporation. So
Hmm.
like the corporation doesn't really view anyone as human or worthy of or of having any value beyond the money they could earn.
Yeah, it's they
And
and they're there's a reason why they're tied to each other in a way. Like they want each other.
yeah, the whole Alien series is just a love story between Weyland Yutani and the
Exactly.
Xenomorphs.
Exactly. It should be
If
categorized under romance.
yeah,
But here's what I like about that part is like Ripley has so much gratitude towards this robot who she hated at the beginning
yeah.
of the movie. She gives him so much gratitude that in a way before he dies he gains his humanity. He transcends his robot form and becomes human. And then so when he dies, but when he's killed by the alien, we feel something for him.
Oh yeah. Like it's
A robot, a rabbit.
a robot. Yeah, like Bishop like in every opportunity to shine and come through, he does.
Uh-huh.
So his death is something that the audience truly feels.
Do you do
Uh,
you do you think he gained his humanity?
yeah, I would say so.
Nice.
Pinocchio became a real boy.
Yeah,
Uh, and
definitely.
then and then like the loader machine thing that Ripley has.
It's the battle of the moms. Yeah.
Yeah, it's mom battle, but also like it's kind of in a very sense, her rising to the occasion, becoming larger than herself.
Yeah.
Like she sort of becomes a matched opponent to the alien queen herself. Like she
To
finds
defeat
she
the bad mom. Yeah.
yeah,
Through
exactly.
technology, though, and it's kind of interesting. Bishop, what he wants is to become human in a way. And what Ripley had to do was become part machine to destroy the alien.
Hmm. It is kind of like the thing that arms humans, you know, against nature is kind of technology in a general sense.
Hmm.
The whole technology aspect of it is not something I'm really
Sure, I
uh,
can I can deal with that. But
yeah.
here's the other thing too is I think it is kind of an interesting reflection the the alien mom and the techno mom going
Mhm.
out fighting each other. And it's just sort of like there's two like
Well,
it's
like that
kind
that's
of like Ripley fighting her evil side or fighting her alter ego. The fact that she's
so
this adopted mom.
yeah, I kind of brought this up during the Terminator review,
Hmm.
but like so where what humanity is like sitting in this middle point between being an animal and being a robot.
Yeah, totally.
And like she's more of a human than the hyper logical like Weyland-Yutani Corporation. And she's more like she's sort of more human in the sense that she's not quite that logical, but she's also less animalistic than the aliens.
Hmm.
So she's kind of like existing this very human point between the animalistic aliens and the very robotic logical corporation.
Hmm.
And then she beats up the alien with the big robot, and we all cheer.
Yep. And then that's the movie,
Yeah.
basically. Um, any other any other notes that you have?
Let's
Well,
see.
oh, wait, there was one thing while you're looking. There was one thing too, which is okay, so the very end of the movie, the last shot. Do you remember what that is?
It's them laying down in the pods.
Mm-hmm.
They're hugging.
No, they're not actually. They're doing something way better that they haven't been
What?
able to do for years.
Oh, they dream or they sleep.
They dream. Yeah, they're sleeping. They're sleeping soundly. And that actually I actually watched that ending a couple times.
Hmm.
And once I realized what the whole movie, how the whole movie started was her having these bad dreams, which I thought at first was just a way to get a alien popping out of the chest moment
Uh-huh.
because they didn't have one in this movie.
Oh, they have one when the Marines go to the big where all the townspeople are being held. One of them, and they incinerate the body after it pops out of the chest.
Yeah, okay, fine. I guess you're right. That wasn't a
You
good
gotta
one
have, you
though.
gotta have, you gotta have, you can't just have one chest burster scene. This is
Yeah.
aliens.
Yeah, true. But but yeah, so thinking about like that she couldn't dream at night and then she had that connection with Newt where Newt couldn't dream at night either. And
Hmm.
they sort of it was kind of understood between them. The fact that
Yeah,
they were both sleeping soundly together and then it fades out, that actually kind of hit me. It was
yeah, like
like,
like the rolling of credits is almost them falling asleep
yeah,
uh and that their trial being over.
yeah. And then like it was sort of a catharsis, like, wow, okay, it's all dealt with and we can finally sleep in exhausted sleep and
Hmm.
everything. That was really beautiful. That was like a nice little touch.
Yeah,
It was a very, very simple touch, but it was really nice.
yeah. I covered basically everything that I wanted to cover. If I was to end on one statement, I would say it's that Bill Paxton is a national treasure.
He 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 was. He died,
Yeah,
right?
he died. Oh no,
Yeah,
it was. Oh, did he die? Uh,
I think so. If he did, this episode is dedicated to him.
yeah. Oh yeah, he died. 2017.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Well, this episode is dedicated to Bill Paxton. May he rest in peace. And you know what, Nick? I thought this was a pretty good episode, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, yeah, I don't feel like we really did too much rambling. It was,
Oh, we did quite a bit.
we did a lot of rambling, but it was, I don't feel like like we ever got so significantly off topic though.
No, it was not bad for a human.
Hmm.
And that was the Mythic Movie Maker podcast.